Hey guys, okay, so today's video, I'm going to just make probably a pretty quick video, and it's going to be about epigenetics, which is basically kind of moving beyond just basic DNA and getting into how your DNA actually expresses itself, because you're not always creating the exact same proteins and molecules in the body day in and day out. It's an ever-changing process, and that is really what we call epigenetics. Now you do have feedback loops and highly short-term hormonal changes and so on, but like these epigenetic changes, these are what kind of change you into a whole almost different person. And so it's kind of funny to actually realize that you're not just given like good genes or bad genes. Like sometimes you see an athlete and people will say things like, oh, well, they were born with good genes, or somebody else that has health troubles, oh, they were born with bad genes. And like there's actually a lot of misconceptions about that, because with the knowledge of epigenetics we can realize that these genetic inheritances that we get are really more like inheriting inheriting a whole bank account of or a whole collection of recipes that grandma passes down to us. We don't have to make all the recipes. If one just totally turns our stomach, we don't have to make all those recipes that we get handed down as an inheritance. And with the bank account analogy, we can choose to buy what we will. So with the knowledge of epigenetics, we can take the other analogy of genetics as like a blueprint for a design, for a house, and we can extend that a little further and make it a little more accurate, and basically use the analogy to help our imaginations wrap our mind around it, of DNA being a whole book or a whole library of different blueprints. So now you've got your blueprint for your, just your cookie cutter house. You've got your blueprint for a trailer home, a blueprint for a hotel, a blueprint for a casino, a high-rise skyscraper, and all these different blueprints. Your split-level house, your 3-story, your 2-story, your ranch-style house, and all of these different blueprints. And that's what epigenetics really is determining what parts of your DNA strands are going to be turned on, and then to what degree, how are they going to be modified, because it's not actually even just on or off. It's literally what are the settings for, just like you can go in on your computer and you can go into the settings and modify it. It's not just on or off for different features. It's like, okay, what kind of mouse speed do you want? For your cursor going across your desktop, what kind of mouse speed? How fast do you need to double click in order to open up an icon? So with epigenetics, it's not even just on or off. Are these proteins going to be expressed or not? But how are they going to be expressed? And how frequently? How much? So it's not as much as a on-off switch, but like a dimmer switch, or something of that nature. So you have a few different ways that epigenetics works. Firstly, methylation, and then histone modification, and then there's a few other ways as well. And these are basically chemical tags that get attached by your body to the genetic strands, and then these serve as markers that let the protein, the protein reproduction equipment know how to reproduce those proteins. So let me get a little bit into this topic. So you have familiar nutrients. In just a second here, let me turn on my recording software for my screen capturing, because I want to actually share these notes visually with you when I edit it in for you. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now you have familiar nutrients like folic acid, B vitamins, SAMe, which is short for acetylmethionine, which is a popular over-the-counter supplement. These are all key components of this methyl-making pathway. Diets high in these methyl-donating nutrients can rapidly alter gene expression, especially during early development when the epigenome is first being established. And then another substance that is good at modifying your epigenetic profile is coenzymated sublingual B complex. So we all know how extremely important the B vitamins are. Now, what this is it's coenzymated, so it actually comes along with the enzymes and the cofactors that are involved in metabolizing these B vitamin nutrients. So nothing in the body works alone. It all works in tandem with, a few or even dozens of other cofactors, just like, in a chemistry reaction in a laboratory or a factory. You're going to have a lot of different steps and processes with different chemicals and ingredients that are involved in making the final outcome. So this has those enzymes you need to fully use the B vitamins. And then it's also sublingual, and that's just a fancy long word that means you place it under your tongue, and then it will absorb through the thin skin of the mouth into the bloodstream much more rapidly and fully. So this coenzymated sublingual B complex is actually good for your energy levels. It's good for your epigenetic profile. And it doesn't taste that bad either. Many types of epigenetic processes have been identified. They include methylation, acetylation, phosphorylation, ubiquitination, and sumylation. Other nutrients that are involved in the epigenetic activation of your DNA, kind of helping to fully activate your potential as a human being, no matter who you are, who your parents were. These ingredients include DHA, zinc, vitamin D. Vitamin D, by the way, is able to activate over 200 genes. There's nearly 3,000 binding sites for the vitamin D receptor. Also, just eating a plant-based diet. You can eat meat. You can eat meat if you want to eat meat. You can eat junk food if you want. You can eat whatever you want, but having a predominantly plant-based diet where you get lots of vegetables and spices and herbs and even some fruits and so on, that's more natural for the human being. If you visit a zoo, you'll see animals. They try to make the habitat as natural as they can for those animals. Now, we as conscious human beings, we've got to make sure that we are making our environment as wholesome to our natural potentials as possible as well. So what happens when we lose that natural intuition for who we are as human beings? We don't know how to care for ourselves, right? Now, another big one that goes beyond foods, meditation, mindfulness exercises, even like yoga, breathing exercises, even taking a nap, just taking some method of relaxing the mind. I mean, that's the key for meditation, is it's changing the energy flow through the mind. Now, you need to be mindful about the emotions, because you can fall asleep angry and really not get good sleep. You can fall asleep frustrated or even so tired that you're playing catch-up. But if you get past the catch-up game and you begin to sleep on like a mind which is prepared for some inner work, or you take a moment to sit cross-legged or just flat-footed in a chair, back straight, good posture. You go through your relaxing breathing exercises, and you lower the mind into a state of alert but relaxed mindfulness. And then you're able to focus on, relaxing and being confident and making sure that your focus is on what you want to be focusing on, not just reacting to everything as it happens to you, realizing your inner agency and your locus of focus, and realizing that you can, in fact, have power over your actions and thoughts and emotions throughout the day. So that's been shown to be incredibly important for overall health as well as for your epigenetic profile. If your body is feeling like it's always stressed, then it's going to have a whole different genetic profile, or epigenetic profile, and your stress hormones are going to be more active, and you're not going to be in a state of really being on top of your game. So you want to be on top of your game, right? And that usually includes a mindfulness practice such as meditating, deep breathing, anything that you do. It can be your work, play, running, reading, talking with people. Anything you do with your full heart and mind in a relaxed state of mind where you're confident about yourself and what you're doing in life. This is meditating in motion. I call it meditating in motion. And that's where you're just really, in the zone, in the flow state, knowing that what you're doing is, integrated with your holistic idea of who you are as a person, and you're really being your authentic self. So I think that's important for a healthy epigenetic profile as well. Also, let me just expand the list here for methyl donors. These include melatonin, CoQ10, carnitine, or L-carnitine, theanine that can be found in green teas, white teas, black teas, SAMe, methyl B12, otherwise known as methylcobalamin, curcumin, which is found in turmeric, a popular Indian spice, TMG, short for trimethylglycine, is a source of methyl donors, Folipro, metformin, Deplin, and 5-MTHF, which is, let's see, just a second, 5. Let me Google that for you. So 5-MTHF is levometholic acid, which is the primary biologically active form of folic acid used at the cellular level for DNA production, the cysteine cycle, and the regulation of homocysteine. So you've probably heard of folic acid being very important for expecting mothers and growing babies, and basically this 5-MTHF is a very bioactive form of that folic acid. Another way to get folic acid is there's this kind of water called black water. You can go to getblk.com, and it's a fulvic acid enhanced water. And it's really strange looking because it's just a dark black water. But basically, this is infused with trace minerals, and it's highly alkaline in its pH level. It's really good for you. I've tasted it a few times. It's excellent. Another methyl donor is called betaine. You can find betaine in spinach and in beets. And another substance is inositol, and you can find that one in cantaloupes. So, there you have it. You have this list of ways that you can control your epigenetic profile. So, think about it. Think about your concept of a human being, or any animal, really. You think they just get everything from their parents. you breed some dogs and you get like a litter of dogs, and that's what you have. But in fact, the epigenetic profile is at least 50% or more powerful than the DNA that is transferred. Almost all, like something like 98-99% of DNA among all different kinds of human beings is exactly the same. The biggest differences are just in a couple of, maybe a couple percent, maybe 1% of the DNA, and most of the changes are based on epigenetics. Epigenetics are transferred from the mother and father at what I call the inception, usually known as conception, but I call it inception because, it's like the inception of a dream. And, it's really up to your choosing. So, depending on your diet, your mindset, the people you hang around with, even your neighborhood, your environment, just how you even structure your furniture, like everything, anything that like has any kind of effect on your mindset, that signals anything to you, the color of your walls, the color of your sheets, however you are best able to modify how you feel throughout the day, going outside and getting sunlight, or walking barefoot across your yard, or just making conversation with people, making friends, hanging around people you can get along with. These are all things that really have the capability to strengthen your overall health. Because even if you eat healthy foods, if you don't have the epigenetic profile, in like a good status, it's virtually impossible for you to be healthy, because this is the switches and dials. You can have a computer all malfunctioning even if it's plugged in to its optimal source of power, but you gotta have those switches and dials tuned, right? Two different cars, one a Ford Pinto, the other a Ferrari. They use the same kind of gasoline, but one is a highly engineered engine, no holds barred. Like they put everything into it. And then the other one is just your economical vehicle. And then so the one that's really engineered and tuned, it's got all the parts, it's got all the best parts in there. That is like a body that's been tuned, a mind that has been tuned. We're coming to realize just how important it is that our minds be in good working order in order for our bodies to also be in good working order. This nervous system isn't just the brain, but it's also the heart, the nervous system that goes down into the stomach, the spine and the spinal cord go all the way down and branch out into all the different nerves throughout the entire body. There's a term, look it up if you want. It's called embodied cognition, and it kind of gets into the concepts related to the fact that your mind is not a separate thing. So based upon how you treat your body, what you eat, that affects the mind, and vice versa. The way you treat the mind, the way you think and feel, affects the body. So the whole idea that the two are separate is false. So what you can learn from this is basically look into the ways that you can work on your epigenetic profile, and then if you're preparing for a new baby, educate yourself as much as you can about these things. Don't stress over it, because that is kind of the point, to make sure you reduce the stress and everything, and then just give the baby the best possible start you can, knowing that your DNA is going to be transferred no matter what from both mother and father, but that the epigenetics, how you're eating and how you're feeling and everything, that's going to be transferred, and that's going to be especially important. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful rest of the afternoon, or whatever it is in your time zone, and please just have fun doing whatever you do. Peace.